this video is going to be a lot. I was live streaming some of my old videos, watching them doing a commentary. The link is available there. Anyway, I constantly wondered about the themes that I keep coming back to. It feels like I'm sometimes making the exact same video, talk about empathy. I keep going back. If we can actually change who we are, that's later, but it's going to be a vlog. I need a win. Let's go. It's funny how sometimes a comment that you write can be more about you than the thing that you've watched or commenting on. That's what I've found. It feels pretty universal, especially when you go around and look at comments where people are more angry at a thing than it deserves. Yeah, or you're a kooky conspiracy nut that think that lizards... Me, I have energy. I'm feeling pretty rock and roll recently. And not just because Fight Club is mostly rock and roll and he just did a video about Fight Club, but also about Fight Club. I've done videos on Fight Club. I've mentioned them in videos before. Why do I keep coming back? What is it about my past that makes me repeat it or repeat the same topics? So I watched my very first video that I put on YouTube. Not the very first one. The very first one was the dragon boat on fire that I haven't found again. The first one I'm talking about empathy. Just like I do now. Just like I do all the time. Just like I did for an entire month as a theme. I've always talked about empathy on YouTube. And then I also complained about Duke Nukem, which my complaints and complex thoughts about Duke Nukem led me to write some fanfiction, but it was like anti-fanfiction, about women escaping Duke Nukem. That's on lasertime.com. But I'm discovering all of these thoughts and values that I've always had that have not really been expressed until now. Like, I knew about feminism before I was a feminist. I believed in it. I believed in concepts that are congruent with feminism. So my sets have changed over the years because my life has changed over the years, but it's always kind of the same setup, the same dogging on the Vlogbrothers, be in a room and talk about things, and sometimes do stuff in multiple parts, which I haven't done multiple parts in a while because video essays are on one solid topic all the way through and everything has to connect back to the topic, or help your thesis, or fight off arguments of people that would disagree with you, right? That's an essay. But a vlog is a kind of writing where you do something personal. But video essays are... But an essay that you write that's not very personal is pretty boring, because that's part of that passion. It's part of that. So Digibro put out a video called about density. Condensed, redensed, something like that. Anyways, in it, he would say it's a sentence and then have a whole paragraph on something that sentence implies, or for his reasoning for it.
I've always claimed to love dense media the most, to love multi-layered and complex.
And I have a comment on that video. If you subscribe to me and then watch that video, my comment will be at the top, because YouTube's cool, and the people that you subscribe to appear at the top of your thing for things you can look at, because they assume you want to see what these people say. YouTube could be such a better social media thing, if that mattered. If they cared. Oh god. I was kind of disappointed in myself, but then I shrugged off that thought, because a lot of times, we can think things that aren't necessarily true because they go with the narrative. Like, we can believe things if they go with the narrative, like, oh, I've been doing the same video 100 times, but it's not true. I'm not the same person. My ideas and values have changed. Even though I was a preaching, conservative, right-wing nut at the time, no matter how much I cared about people and thought that people should be equal and thought that people should be nice and non-judgmental because it is not for us to judge, Like, no matter what, I was still like a raging capitalist. And I still ignored problems that the Bible said was wrong. So now, even though I'm a raging leftist who's constantly preaching at people, that's just me. That's just how I express my values, no matter what they are. It's not the value that made me want to teach and preach and convince people. It was me all along. And I gave credit to other things. I gave credit, you're taught to give credit to God for everything as a Christian. You're taught to just so much. There was so much wrong. But I grew and I changed. And you know when you grow and change, when you look back on your old self and you're like, oh, look at all those mistakes. Oh man, look at that terrible thing they did. Look at the terrible thoughts they had. I'm disgusted by my past self. That is good and healthy because it shows that you have grown as a person. And I didn't come up with that idea. The idea to grow and change and become better is very much so an idea that I got from my Baptist background, from reading the Bible and applying it to yourself. I still have the Bible to apply for good ideas, but it's still the same critical thought that goes through in order to make change, in order to find things to change about yourself, in order to find new values to cling to, causes to champion, people to love. Nirvana and Fight Club are very close to my development, because at one time I loved them both and believed in them both to an extent as far as being anti-capitalist and angry at the system. I saw the flaws they pointed out, but I thought they did me a disservice because I didn't have anything better to do with those flaws. I still have to live in the system. I still have to be under capitalism no matter how much corporate magazines suck. As I've grown though, I've been able to accept that there are flaws in capitalism and also that we can fix it, that they don't just have to sit there, that there are things we can do about what is wrong with the world and wrong with our system. The first point is just make people realize they see them too. Somehow the Republican Party has done a massive sway out under conservative people to make them think that the way things are the way things should be, and if anything we should regress to the past because it was a little better then, and it wasn't. It was never better. It was never the past you're thinking of. Conservatives hate the poor because Republicans hate the poor. They say they love them, they say that they're there to help the poor like Christ said, but they don't. They hate them in what they say and what they do, in the programs that they put forward, and how they just want to cut off everything from them and think they should earn them themselves. That is hating the poor. I'm off topic. I'm supposed to be talking about myself. This is why I never despaired from nihilism, because things do matter. Things have always mattered to me. It's always been clear. I care about my mother. I care about my family. I care about my friends. I care about poor people because the Bible told me to, but also because it's the right thing to do. And I am no different from a poor person, and they did not choose to be there. These are my values. This is who I am, and it's informed what I've learned and what I've said and what I'm trying to do. For always. Even back in my early YouTube videos. Probably the biggest disagreement that I have with a previous YouTube video is my "we shouldn't tax churches" video. My rationale was because we already tax people, and all a church is a group of people. Why are we taxing people twice? But my view has changed. At a certain point, I feel like a church is more than a couple of people and is a huge institution, especially super churches. We should be taxing the hell out of those terrible places. I hate them. I hate any church with more than 1,000 people. What are you doing? Just stop. You're evil. Fuck you. I'm sure I know people that go to churches that have more than 1,000 people. I hate it. I hate your bloated, crappy church. So I believe in a lot of things that would be considered nihilist. Like, I don't think that how much money you have matters. I don't think that what you do necessarily matters to like the grand scheme of things, but at the same time, other people clearly matter. Things you do make a difference to them. The things people do make a difference to you. If you've ever been sad or happy, that's because something mattered. That is the opposite of nihilism. I feel like nihilists are just lazy, right? Like, they're like, oh, Your job doesn't matter. What kind of clothes you have doesn't matter. What television channel you watch doesn't matter. What you vote for doesn't matter. But that's what they say. I feel like they've just gotten lazy because we have so many things. They're like, oh, nothing matters. Nihilism. But things do matter. Things clearly matter to people. Otherwise, they wouldn't have an effect. Like, people love Rick and Morty, but I think people love Rick unironically. And Rick is a character that proves that, like, his attitude of life is unhealthy and toxic and bad, and he's put himself in a terrible headspace mentally, which is nothing to celebrate. You've missed the point of your show. I've discovered that money doesn't matter. Like, I was talking to a friend, and he said that we need capitalism because people will not work without being paid. I saw right through that. No one works for money. Money is the middleman of desire. People work so they can have a house, so they can have a family, so they can support it, so they can buy it, so they can do stuff, so they continue to consume. People get money so that they continue doing what they actually want to do. There is a certain point where I had to decide what I needed, and if getting money was really going to help me get what I need. I decided to cut out hours from work for myself so that I can do what I wanted to do. So that I can do this, so I can write, so I can publish. And I would like to do that all the time, but until I can, I'm working. And I'm sure there are people that just work for money, that technically don't need it anymore and could coast, but they want more. They want to be rich. They're greedy. They want to be rich. I think our society should get rid of money altogether. Get rid of that cap. Because you don't work for money. You work for other desires. And sure, some people will be angry that they can't be rich anymore. So what? We'll wean you off your weird addiction to money that capitalism has taught you. What those people want is to feel better than everyone else. That they've done something smarter. That they've been able to work harder. That they're more cleverer because they have more money-er, but they're not. So they'll rage, and they'll hate the poor people, and they'll say they made bad choices, and they'll say how smart they are because of how much money they've made. But they're idiots because they're no better than anyone else. I've been wanting to do something weird. Like, looking at my videos, I had the desire that I should make something weirder. That my videos should be weirder and interesting in that kind of way. I wanted weird angles. I want things to be upside down. I want the video to zoom in really small. Then I want the video to just be like in my face, like in my eyes. I wanted those. I love the bit with backwards talking. I love making strange videos. I just had this feeling that everything should be a lot weirder. Partially to like obscure the message, but also to keep people watching, because people don't want to watch a vlog. They want to see whole screen covered with like a single shot of anime, and I don't like those videos. They get taken down all the time. There's a chance that there'll be copyright claim. You don't get any personality with the person, and then like you get boring. You don't see like what they think. You can't see their eyes, and that's why I always try to record with the camera shot on my face, and like I'll switch to a clip once in a while, or I'll put an overlay of stuff. But this is what I want. This is what I really like out of it, and for some reason they accepted meta with essays, video essays, is that, you know, you never see the person's face, and that's dumb. It's super dumb. No, I've been wanting to make something weird. Let's make this camera lower. Hi, is that better? This might not be better. Like, you ever wonder what you're doing? I wonder what I'm doing all the time. I don't know why I'm so happy about it. Like, I am excited lately. Like, this morning I did not expect to be excited, and it was because, like, I saw a topic from Californication, so I started watching a couple episodes from Californication, like in bed, like while I was trying to wake up, and the show is shot with so much energy. Like, it's about this sad man who's this sad person, but the way it's shot, it's very kinetic, it's very flowing. Like, there's always somewhere to do, and actions having consequences, and like leading to them. There's always somewhere to go in the show, and Hank does it like effortlessly. In a lot of times, you know, because as an agent, he has people that care about him, and he has this social structure that cares about him, that like keeps him busy, that keeps him moving and doing stuff. But life can be like that too. Like, I feel like my mom is that kind of person. Like, she's always doing something, she's always busy, she always forgets to do stuff that she doesn't want to do, like read, or read the Bible, or read my book, or watch a certain television show. She says she's busy all the time, and those are all her choices. She doesn't want to like consume media. She doesn't want to take the time to read a book. She wants it to come to her, and in the meantime, she's like, bam, 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 do. It's just what she does. And like, she doesn't have to do that. Like, I've suggested she read a book. She's like, honey, I just don't have the time. You do. You do have the time. You make the time. That's how you have time for anything, is you make it. And you sacrifice things that don't matter. But a lot matters to my mother, and I love that about her. And it's completely normal and like weird at the same time. A little bit askew. And I tried to vlog for a long time, just to vlog, because I looked at what vloggers were doing, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. That's easy, because it was easy. You know, depending on what kind of vlogs they did. Like, there was it Nerd Life? Lifeberry? There was a bunch of everyday vlogs where they would just film their life and film stuff they do, because they're busy people, like my mother. Like, I'm sure my mom could pull off a vlog like Casey Neistat, with everywhere that she goes and moves. She doesn't skateboard through streets, but she's driving places. She's going to work. I'd watch that. You'd watch that. Editing. She would hate it so much. Casey Neistat brought editing to it. Of course, there's all his transitions with boom, like whoosh, But the thing about like Casey Neistat's videos is sometimes he goes to the formula, so there's stuff to do, and there's like actual content in his video. Whoosh. But they can blend together, and people say that it's the same, and it is daily vloggers. It's really hard to come up with different topics all the time. Like, I am repeating myself constantly with these weekly videos, right? Right? You know, you've seen. But I don't like repeating myself. I'd much rather people listen to me the first time. But when I repeat stuff, like in videos, I do feel like they're different every time. Like, my grasp on empathy and how far to expand it is the kind of thing that can only be expanded upon by watching it, by understanding it, by thinking about it a whole lot. And I can only think about these concepts with new depths and new ideas when I apply them to new forms of media, to new stories, to new things that people share with me. And sometimes it's through people yelling at me. Sometimes it's through comments. Sometimes it's through someone else sharing an anecdote. And those are like the things that like really matter to me the most. Like when someone shares something very personal. Like Various put up his last video, waking up to YouTube. And that's a feeling that I'm familiar with, but also that I've kind of stayed away from, right? Because I've been on YouTube for 7 years. This channel is 7 years old. I didn't have a lot of the things and pressures that newer YouTubers have, but like the trade-off to that is YouTube looks at my channel and says, that's 7 years old and no one watches it. Don't recommend it to anyone. So lately I've been thinking about what really weird things could I do? What weird things haven't I done? Because I've done a lot of weird things. Zero scrutiny and zero fans leaves me a lot of room to just experiment and do whatever. Like, I love H-Bomb Guy's videos. Like, one of the videos, he births himself out of a painting, and he's covered with, like placenta and some... And he's covered with some kind of slime, and he's naked and mosaicing himself. It's nuts, but that's the kind of thing that I, like, super love in videos. That's the kind of thing that I, like to try and like to do, but not like that exact thing, because, you know, you just learned that I got it from someone else, so. Then there are things that I think are weird in a boring and stupid way, like anyone that puts an emoji in the thumbnail. I hate you. And reaction channels, reaction videos, I hate them. I hate them so much. I'm subscribed to a couple people because they seemed cool, but, like, then they transitioned to what they really want to do instead of, like, the vloggy personal things that I liked, and I hate them now. Like Lomar, he did a couple kind of funny vlogs, but now he just, like, does amino and advertising, and I hate it. I hate everything he does. Actually, I shouldn't have mentioned his name, because YouTube sees that, they'll suggest that stuff to me. I don't want to see it. I hate him. I hate those explanation videos that have the red circles and red arrows everywhere. Oh, now I understand it. There's a red arrow. Why someone's maybe white guy thing. I get a lot more live stream viewers when they mistake me for a woman and my camera malfunctions. No, you're not looking for the content of someone's character. No. What was the point I was making? I don't know. Oh, I'm envious. I'm envious of some people, especially when I see that their video gets like 60 views like in an hour, and what they've done is they've uploaded 4 reaction videos within an hour on a day, like not even like spread out, not even like paced out, like you can once a day a reaction video, just like 4 in the morning, posted at the same time, garbage thumbnail with a freaking emoji on it, just reacting to things. Like, who are you? Why should I care about your reaction? You're not a cute kid. I don't know anything about you. So is this video about, like, your views can change, but your personality doesn't, and you are your personality and not necessarily your views. Capitalism isn't necessary. We don't work for money. Make YouTube weird and watch my videos? Is that what I'm saying? I don't rock and roll, kick ass. So many of the singular topics that I could do that have been bothering me lately have like already been done. God, am I gonna look up all this junk? Because like, I recently had an argument with a friend, and he said that he doesn't benefit from the existence of libraries, and of course he does, you filthy liar. And John Green put out a whole video about why libraries matter to people, even though you can buy stuff from Amazon. Just because you don't use the library doesn't mean you don't need. Because John Green made that video. The other thing that has been on me is all the people defending Nazis, like, and acting like Nazis don't exist. After Charleston, which we're very close to the anniversary of, we're not allowed to act like Nazis don't exist. Sean and Jed put out a huge video talking about how they exist and detailing with footage that they captured. There's live video from these people, from these self-professed Nazis. You can't deny it anymore.
Hello everyone. This is a video about the Unite the Right rally that took place on August 12th of last year in Charlottesville, Virginia. Many of you will be familiar with the general events of the day. It was a rally attended by far-right figures such as Richard Spencer and David Duke, organized to protest the removal of a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee from a park in Charlottesville. Shortly before the event was scheduled to begin, amid violent clashes between Unite the Right attendees and protesters, the rally was declared an unlawful assembly and police began clearing the park. Soon afterwards, a white supremacist drove his car into a group of counter-protesters, injuring several people, one fatally. He was later arrested and charged with second-degree murder. There's lots of deflection, attempts at recontextualization, and outright lies. Don't take my word for it, though. We'll start looking at those in a little while. But firstly, I'd like to ask a question. James Allsop live-streamed the Unite the Right rally, and he uses clips from his live stream in his video. But he has since taken that stream down. Likewise, other alt-right figures such as Baked Alaska were present at the rally, and Baked Alaska also live-streamed the event, and has also since taken his stream down. So why did they do this? Surely if James Allsop wanted us to see the truth about Charlottesville, he could have left his unedited stream up on YouTube. You can't get more truthful than a direct video of the event, after all. So my question is, what are they trying to hide? Luckily, there were plenty of willing cameramen at the rally who have not deleted their live streams. There are dozens of hours of footage from Charlottesville from a variety of different sources online, and using those, we can show exactly what happened pretty much throughout the entire day. Firstly, though, we'll briefly run through the events that led up to the Unite the Right rally. At some point, Baked Alaska's stream crosses paths with David Dukes, and Baked Alaska tells him that he loves him.
By the way,
Live with the Red Elephants.
With me. Baked Alaska, I honor you for your courage at this event, too.
I love you, Dr.
Now
Duke.
listen,
Thank
when
you
we
so
get
much.
back to the park, well, we love you, too. We really respect you.
At another point, someone convinces Baked Alaska to spray soap in his own eyes, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There were a couple people there with swastika flags or Hitler iconography or whatever. And I was reviewing the live streams of the event that Baked Alaska did at the start and then Matt took over for, and that I had. And in all of our footage, I think I saw combined 3 swastika flags. 3 swastika flags, okay. And so let's say, for every swastika flag, there are 10 Nazis there in support. Okay, so that puts you at 30 Nazis.
Right. So, James Allsop apparently didn't personally see many swastika flags, so that means that there weren't many neo-Nazis at the event. Now, I could go through the various videos and streams and find all the instances of people waving swastika flags. There's obviously the one that Allsop includes in his video, and here's another one. However, that would be the wrong way to answer James Allsop's claim, because that would buy into the idea that the only way to spot a neo-Nazi is to see them waving a swastika flag. There were, after all, lots of other flags and symbols on display at the rally, so let's take a look at a few of those. First up, this here is a black sun flag, also known as a Sonnenrad. This is a symbol often used by neo-Nazis because it was once used by the precursors to the neo-Nazis, the Nazis. Here it is on the floor of the former Generals Hall at Wewelsburg Castle in Germany. I pronounced that wrong. Which was operated by Heinrich Himmler's SS during the Second World War. If you see someone waving a black sun flag at a rally, they're basically waving a swastika flag, but they're trying to be clever about it. Here it is on a bunch of shields, and this guy seems to have mixed it in with a Confederate flag, which is a bit odd. And here's a variant of that flag in a photo with a group of odd fellows throwing Nazi salutes. And here's another black sun shield in the right of a photograph alongside some shields bearing a logo of the white supremacist group Vanguard America. Now, center in this photo is James Alex Fields, the person who later drove his car into the crowd of counter-protesters. Next up is this flag. This is the flag of the United States National Socialist Movement, and I hope I don't have to explain the origins of that name. This is a banner advertising the website The Daily Stormer, which is named for the former Nazi propaganda newspaper Der Stürmer, or The Stormer. The Daily Stormer had quite a little following going at the rally, but more on them in a moment. So here, to James Allsop, I would say this. It doesn't matter how many swastika flags you personally happen to see at the rally. The acceptable amount of swastika flags at the rally would be 0. You can't get away with saying, well, only some of us were Nazis, so how could you judge us as a group? The event was called Unite the Right. If you're tolerant of any Nazis being there at all, you're talking about uniting the Nazis with everyone else. Secondly, swastikas aside, as we've just seen, other Nazi imagery was everywhere. It was impossible to miss. So either James is so naive that he does not recognize the meaning of group names like the National Socialist Movement, and he thinks the swastika is the only permissible identifier of Nazi sympathies, or he's attempting to twist the truth to mislead his audience. Of course, the Kekistan flag was out and about, seen here on one of the streamers' helmets. What a dork. The Kekistan flag is not much more than a green recolouring of a Nazi flag. Proponents, of course, claim it's all a joke, but there comes a point when, if neo-Nazis like your joke flag and start waving your joke flag alongside their other completely not a joke flags, maybe it's time to come up with a better joke. These people really do support murdering black people, Jewish people, various other minorities they don't like, and again, don't take my word for it. Let's listen to the rest of what they have to say, and we'll start off by hearing a few of their chants. So 2 chants from the Torch rally there. Jews will not replace us. Self-explanatory, that one, I should hope. But where are we today?
We're not allowed to act like Nazis don't exist. Sean and Jed put out a huge video. Stupid 4chan ops. The 4chan ops, they're just dumb. They're dumb people just trying to mess up the world because they think it doesn't matter. But it does. And these things do matter Film Crit Hulk put out a fantastic article about don't feed the trolls and other horrendous lies. About all these stupid things that we believe about the internet. But they're just dumb things. They're counter. They're what led us to this point now where there are Nazis anymore. There are Nazis now. There are Nazis again. I'm saying Nazis all. Innuendo Studio has a whole series about the right-wing playbook, talking about what they're doing and their misinformation campaign. And here's new one when he's talking about, well, in his Ship of Theseus video, he refers to a couple of topics he's touched on before, but how you can ship a Theseus in argument, how you can replace a meaning of a word. So when you say that somebody doxed you, that really means that a contractor that was once in contact with this person liked a tweet that had someone's real name in it. And you can twist all those phrases eventually to mean someone doxed me. Because they use this language to take on what they think the left and the moderate people will care about. Which is why probably their biggest insult and the biggest thing they throw around the most is pedophile. Because there is no real insult. They have no values. They're nihilist. But pedophile is the one thing that they can see people really fighting over, where they can see people getting banned over. So they bandy it about. They throw it out there. They say, this guy's a pedophile. That guy's a pedophile. A bunch of goons is what they are. A bunch of goons with no morals and no values, so they have to bandy about the one thing that they think people will care about. But of course, outside of their communities, they feel free to take on the language of this guy's sexist. This guy raped someone, even if it's a lie, even if it's completely not out there, even if it's something they apologized for, like with James Gunn. It's awful. These people are awful, and I hate them. 4chan is garbage and should be deleted, along with 8chan and all those other garbage nothing places that have to try to prove that other things don't matter by messing with them. But in the end, they're the ones that don't matter. Anyway, so Innuendo Studios put out this thing where, for years, conservatives have been talking about border security and it as a jobs issue. And that's what moderate Republicans know. Like, we protect our border to protect jobs. But for years, leftists and media people have been saying that's just racist. You're disguising your racism. And they're like, no, we're not. This is about jobs. And to the moderate, to the normal person, it was about jobs. But then Donald Trump comes on the scene. And Donald Trump says, hold up. I don't want Mexicans coming into the country from Mexico because they're brown and they're not American. And not American means not white. But he doesn't say it because that's like the one dog whistle that he can't say because everything else is out there. Border Patrol isn't a jobs issue. It's always been a racist issue. And the white nationalists like Donald Trump and the media people have the same job where they try to tell everyone it's not a jobs issue. It's a race issue all along because we're racist and we don't like brown people. And the media people tried to have them get off it, you know. It's not, the media told you it wasn't a jobs issue so that you would abandon it because it's really a race issue. But the white nationalist the white nationalist tells you it's not a jobs issue because it's a race issue because they want you to stick it. Because that's what you've been doing and they're counting on your laziness because you had a thing that you thought mattered. You thought this mattered to jobs. But in reality, it matters to being racist against Mexicans who have lived in this country for a very long time and come here and work and build it and have done more work than you and work harder than you. If jobs really mattered to you, the workers would matter to you. That's the other switch. That's a switch that hasn't drawn down. It's not jobs that we should value. It's workers. Workers' rights, workers' pay is much better than giving a company a tax break for jobs. The biggest thing in the world. Jobs doesn't matter. Workers matter. The border doesn't matter. Being compassionate to people in need matters. Thanking people for working with us matters. And in this way, this is why I think YouTube matters. This is why sharing ideas matter. This is why empathy matters. This is why people matter. And this is why it matters that we push back when people say that they're a nihilist, or that people should be nihilist, or that nothing matters. Because it's an assault on reality. And what it leads to is Nazis. And what it leads to is these racists getting what they want. And I never want them to get what they want. Because it's hateful. And it denies people that matter. It denies people's personhood. This is a big deal. And I hope this video was a little bit fun, but also, you have to do more than one thing if you want to change the world. And sometimes a video has to be about more than one topic. And sometimes it can jump from one thing to another. I want to have fun and I want to be weird, but I want to keep my eyes on things that matter. If you want to see more of my writing, I write fiction. It's pretty good. It's really good. You're missing out. Go to Patreon, Ray Richards. There's links. Watch some of my other videos. They're all along these lines. I'm pretty great. You're welcome. If you watch it this long, hit that like button, because you should. Hit the like button. It helps the video apparently. And also share this video because that helps it more. Share it on your Facebook, share it on your Twitter. Tell people to watch it. And if your opinion matters to them, then they will. And then your homework will be to really read things by people that matter to you. To really let them know that they matter by hearing what they say and comprehending and asking questions.